ankle.
Okay, footwork.
Mitchell fires.
Caitlin Clark, the standout rookie and rising superstar of the Indiana Fever, has not taken the court in several games due to a recurring groin injury that has sidelined her indefinitely. Her absence has not only impacted her team's on-court performance but has also left a noticeable emotional void among her teammates, fans, and the broader WNBA community. One such teammate, Natasha Howard, recently expressed just how deeply Clark is missed, not just for her scoring and playmaking, but for her leadership and energy. In a heartfelt message posted on X, formerly Twitter, Natasha Howard shared a simple yet emotional sentiment: "Miss you on the court." The message, though brief, spoke volumes. It was in response to a clip from July 2nd, showing a tender moment between Howard and Clark. In that video, recorded just after the Indiana Fever's Commissioner's Cup win, Howard is seen embracing Clark, a visual representation of mutual respect and camaraderie. The moment resonated with fans, not just because of the warmth between the two players but because it captured how central Clark had become to the Fever franchise in such a short time. From being the No. 1 overall pick in the WNBA draft to becoming one of the most talked about athletes in all of sports, Clark's journey has been meteoric. However, the physical toll of her first professional season has now forced her to the sidelines, and her absence is being deeply felt. Clark has been dealing with a right groin injury, a nagging issue that flared up once again shortly before the WNBA All-Star break. It's the third significant injury she's had to endure this season alone, raising concerns about both her workload and long-term durability. So far, she has missed 12 games, and according to the team's most recent update, she remains out indefinitely. There is no timeline for her return. And that uncertainty is perhaps the most frustrating aspect for both the player and the franchise. What makes the situation more poignant is the timing. The Fever are set to face the Chicago Sky on Sunday, a highly anticipated matchup, not just for the standings but for the compelling narrative surrounding the rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. The two rookies have become the faces of a new WNBA era, both celebrated and scrutinized for their talent, competitiveness, and larger-than-life personas. The rivalry, though still in its early stages, has already captivated audiences. Their previous matchups were must-watch television, drawing massive viewership numbers and sparking countless debates on social media. In many ways, Clark versus Reese has come to define the 2025 WNBA season. That's what makes Clark's absence in this upcoming clash all the more disappointing. Not only for fans but for the players who were eager to see these two icons share the court once again. Howard, who joined the Fever this season on a $214,666 contract, was one of the more experienced additions to a roster built around youth and potential. A WNBA veteran with championship experience, she was expected to bring leadership and toughness to complement the explosive offensive talents of Caitlin Clark. On paper, the two seemed like a perfect match. Clark's elite vision and perimeter shooting paired with Howard's versatility in defense. But in practice, things haven't gone exactly as planned. Part of that has to do with the natural growing pains of building chemistry between players with vastly different styles and backgrounds, but a bigger factor has undoubtedly been Clark's ongoing battle with injuries, which has prevented the duo from truly hitting their stride. Still, Howard hasn't let those challenges define her season. In fact, she has elevated her game in Clark's absence, stepping into a more prominent offensive role and helping to keep the Fever competitive in a tightly packed playoff race. Over the past few weeks, Howard's performance has been one of the bright spots for Indiana. She's shown more confidence in her scoring, become more aggressive on the boards, and embraced the responsibility of being a veteran voice in the locker room. Her leadership has helped the team stay afloat, maintaining a .500 or better record even without their star rookie on the floor. Testament to the team's depth and resilience. But even as she thrives, Howard hasn't forgotten what Clark brings to the table, not just her skills, but her presence. The energy Clark exudes, the attention she commands from defenses, and the way she raises the level of play for those around her, those things are irreplaceable. That's why her message on X resonated so deeply. It was more than just a shout-out. It was a recognition of Clark's importance, both on and off the court. Injuries are always a part of sports, but for a rookie like Clark, who came into the league with immense expectations and a target on her back, the challenges have been especially intense. From the moment she was drafted, there was pressure not just to perform, but to transform the franchise, to lift ratings, to to sell out arenas, and to represent the new era of women's basketball. That's a lot to ask of anyone, let alone a 23-year-old just months removed from her college career. And yet, Clark has handled it all with grace. Whether it's dealing with criticism, navigating media frenzy, or now, enduring the frustrating process of recovery, she has remained composed and focused. According to sources close to the Fever organization, Clark has been deeply involved with the team even while sidelined attending practices, mentoring younger teammates, and staying engaged with the game plan. Her presence in the locker room, even in street clothes, continues to be a source of motivation for the Fever. The team's medical staff is reportedly taking a cautious approach with her rehab. Given the nature of groin injuries, particularly ones that reoccur, there's a risk of making things worse by rushing back too soon. The priority now is long-term health, not just a quick return. While there's no official timetable, insiders suggest the Fever are eyeing a post-All-Star break evaluation to determine her progress. In the meantime, players like Howard will continue to shoulder the load. But make no mistake, everyone in that locker room knows that their ceiling rises exponentially when Caitlin Clark is on the floor. She changes the geometry of the game. Her ability to stretch defenses, her knack for hitting clutch shots, and her willingness to take over in big moments make her a generational talent, and those aren't easily replaced. The fan base has also felt her absence. Attendance numbers have slightly dipped during home games without Clark, and TV ratings have reflected the void left by her absence. That's not to say the WNBA isn't. Driving it is, but Clark's star power is undeniable. Her jersey remains the league's best seller, and her social media presence continues to drive engagement at unprecedented levels. Back in Chicago, where the Fever will face Angel Reese's Sky, anticipation for the game remains high. Reese has been on a tear lately, putting up double-doubles with regularity and emerging as one of the most dominant interior players in the league. The matchup would have been a perfect stage for another chapter in the Clark saga, but for now, fans will have to wait. That delay hasn't diminished the storyline, though. In fact, it might even build more anticipation for the next time these two face off. And when that day comes, the spotlight will be even brighter. For now, the basketball world will continue to monitor Clark's recovery, and messages like Howard's will continue to remind everyone just how much she is missed, not just by teammates, but by the entire league. Howard's $214,666 deal was never about being the star of the show. It was about adding a piece to the puzzle, one that could help elevate a team built around young, dynamic talent. In Caitlin Clark, the Fever found that centerpiece. In Natasha Howard, they found the stabilizer, the glue. Their relationship, still developing, has the potential to become one of the league's more intriguing partnerships. And if their emotional exchange on social media is any indication, the respect is already mutual. Injuries will heal, groins will recover, chemistry will build, and when Caitlin Clark finally returns to the court, she won't just be picking up where she left off, she'd be returning to a team that's grown stronger in her absence. A teammate who's held things down in the meantime, and a league that is eager to welcome her back to center stage. As for Natasha Howard's message, those four words, "Miss you on the court," may seem small, but they carry the weight of everything Clark represents: talent, leadership, excitement, and hope. The WNBA is better with her in it. The Indiana Fever are better with her in it. And until she returns, her absence will be deeply felt but never forgotten.
The back. The dish on the inside to Sophie Cunningham, the biggest lead for Indiana.
That she wants to be the back on that first.
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's electrifying rookie and one of the brightest stars in women's basketball, remains on the sidelines as she continues to nurse a nagging right groin injury. Unlike her previous setbacks earlier in the season, the Fever organization has taken a notably different approach this time around, opting to give Clark ample time and space to rest and recover fully. While her previous injuries, first a left quad strain, followed by a left groin issue, saw her return to action relatively quickly. This latest injury has been handled with a far more cautious mindset. Earlier in the season, Clark's availability was a day-to-day decision. Fans, reporters, and even teammates often didn't know until game time whether she would suit up. That uncertainty created challenges for game planning, rotations, and overall team rhythm. The dynamic was further complicated by Clark's natural desire to compete, even when she wasn't at 100%. She would often go through warm-ups, only to be ruled out moments before tip-off. This will she or won't she situation added an element of disruption that can wear on a team's morale and preparation. However, this time around, the Fever have taken a much firmer stance. Instead of trying to rush Clark back onto the court or managing her status game by game, the team has ruled her out indefinitely. The decision is seen as a protective and proactive measure designed not only to preserve her long-term health, but also to bring clarity to the rest of the team. For once, the Fever can prepare knowing exactly who is and isn't available, allowing players to settle into defined roles and build chemistry without last-minute changes. Head coach Stephanie White spoke candidly about this shift in approach during an interview with Fever beat reporter Scott Agneses, offering insight into the team's rationale and mindset. "I think that's big," she said. "Just the mindset of our group to know that we've got what we've got and need to continue to grow and connect in those ways." And is she available? Is she not available? Will she practice? Will she not practice? And, sort of the disruption, that comes with some of that. So there's clarity. And I think that's good for everybody. It's good for Caitlin, too, so she doesn't feel any kind of way. She can just approach and attack her rehab one day at a time. Of course there's still an air of uncertainty. Will Caitlin Clark return in time to help her team make a playoff push? Or will her rookie season, once so full of promise, end prematurely due to injury? While nothing is set in stone, all signs suggest that both the team and Clark are hopeful for a comeback before the regular season wraps up. And what a comeback it would be. Imagine the playoffs looming, the lights brighter than ever, and Clark stepping back onto the court healthy, and ready to remind the league why she was the most talked about player entering the WNBA this year. It would be the type of storyline that writes itself, and one that the league and its growing fan base would rally around. Beyond the court, Clark remains an icon. Her jersey continues to top WNBA sales. Her games both with and without her continue to draw record viewership. She's not just an athlete, she's a cultural moment. Her impact on women's basketball is already enormous, and her influence will only grow with time. The way the Fever are protecting that asset shows foresight and respect for what she brings not just to their franchise, but to the league as a whole. In the meantime, all eyes remain on Indiana. The Fever have managed to stay in the mix, fighting through adversity and emerging stronger for it. If they can continue to play competitive basketball and secure a playoff spot, Clark's eventual return could be the spark that elevates them from a promising young team